Sierra Doctor here on the Red River Farm Network with the Red River Farm Network Crop Tour presented by Pioneer. I'm here with Matt Peterson with Aligned Ag Owner Manager. Matt, so just to start out, tell me a little bit about the growing season, how it's been for you.
Yeah, so we've had a lot of extra rain than most places in the state, so it's been above average to say the least. We're at north of 20 inches of rain on some of these fields, so our crops look really good. As you can see, soybeans are looking really healthy. Wheat is starting to come off, and it's coming off above average yields, which is nice to see. Maybe a little lower protein because of the higher yields than we had expected, but looks really good. The corn is very similar. I told a couple of my customers it's probably the one year you'll combine a good corn crop and a good wheat crop, because we had a pretty good period in there where we had less heat during wheat flowering, and I think that kind of equated to a lot of our small grain yields. And on the corn side, we've had the heat in other times of the year to keep pushing us forward so we don't repeat a 2019 and have a early frost and lose what we've been making all year. So looks like a good forecast through the next few weeks, and we should be in a good spot, I think, when we take off some of our row crops too.
Yeah, well, good. We saw there's some fields that already still had some wheat standing on the way here, and some that were already all off and done and ready to go. So it sounds like June, when a lot of the other parts of the region kind of had some hot and really dry weather, that skipped on by you.
Yeah, so we got a few heavy rains in the beginning of the year, some that were kind of detrimental to a few of our crops, like dry beans don't really like wet feet, and so we had some drowned out, and we also had just some stands that never really came back because of all the extra heavy rain. We had some 3 to 5 inch heavy rains in an hour, and it really washed some areas out, so harvest might be interesting on a couple of those fields. But yeah, we definitely were not dry like the rest of the state, so we've been very fortunate that way, and it's going to pay dividends, I think. So,
well, good to hear. And it sounds like a lot of moisture with beans and dry beans, kind of the makings of a white mold situation.
Yeah, so our white mold is just starting to really show up now. We did some fungicide passes, and we're still seeing some white mold because of some of our heavy rains and tipping over some of our dry beans. And it shows why we do fungicides, but at the same time it also shows correct droplet size of nozzles and correct products you use to do the right thing is going to be big every time you do have high pressure of white mold. And on the soybean side of things, you're going to really see some of like our A series beans, like what's behind us, kind of show why you use A series Pioneer Enlist genetics, because they really have a lot better white mold scores than what we've been using in the past on our Enlist side of our portfolio, and the standability is really good. So we're seeing that work well in our high pressure and white mold situations.
Well, good. I mean, you mentioned here the A series. Let's talk about this plot a little bit and how is some of these varieties adapted to this season?
Yeah, so one of the big things on A series beans on the Pioneer lineup is big jumps in white mold scores, big jumps in IDC scores, and Phytophthora scores. So when you get the adverse conditions like we've had, heavy rains, extra moisture underneath the canopy, they tend to put the yield on and protect where you need to protect in your tougher agronomic situations. So, for example, some of our higher pH ground where some of these A series beans have stood out, when you get out into this field, it gets a little heavier ground and you get higher pH, and it really showed early on the A series beans fighting through the IDC. And we don't have any white mold in this plot, but in other fields around us, you can see where, like this 04A98 here that I'm holding, it really has a good white mold score because it fights through it. It's got a 7 on white mold, and that's something we've never seen in our early maturities. So it's we're really coming forward with some good genetics that can push us forward where we need to be.
Yeah, well, good. And you can hear kind of some of the equipment going on in the background. It sounds like you've got a little bit of a new building here coming up. And tell me about your company and what's all happening here.
Yeah, so we're Aligned Ag, and we have a full lineup of Pioneer seeds and crop protection, and then we also sell some liquid fertilizer, and we do all kinds of different precision ag tools that we offer our customers for the service when they do business with us. So we try to be out in the field with every product we sell so we can make sure the customer has the best experience possible. So our new building there, this project had started this year. We did a bunch of dirt work last fall, and the building went up in June. Now we're pouring some cement, and we should be hopefully moved into it by the end of the year, and we'll be fully operational for seed treatment and anything like that spring of 24. So pretty exciting news. It's finally feeling real, and it feels like something's going to happen now. So pretty exciting.
Yeah, well, thanks, Matt. That was Matt Peterson, Aligned Ag owner and manager here on the Red River Farm Network's Crop Tour, presented by Pioneer.